This is Corey Cross.
This is Wade Redden.
Hi, this is Braden Holtby.
Hi, this is Scott Hartnell.
My name is Jim Pattison.
Hello, everyone. I'm Carly Agro from Sportsnet Central.
Hey, it's Ron McLean, Hockey Night in Canada and Rogers Hometown Hockey.
Hello, Lloydminster. This is Keith Morrison, and welcome to the Sean Newman Podcast.
Let's get on to that T-Bar 1 Tale of the Tape. Originally from Kid Scotty, Alberta, he's entering his 13th year as head coach of the Women's Rustlers Basketball program. This past season, the Rustlers won the ACAC Championships, the first gold medal in Rustlers basketball history. He's been awarded the ACAC Coach of the Year 4 different times. He is a co-owner of Golden Ticket Sports, which is a relationship-based company that specializes in player, coach, official, and multi-sport events. And they just opened up a new facility, Hoop Factory, here in Lloydminster. I'm talking about Chris King. So buckle up. Here we go.
My name is Chris King, and I'm back on the Sean Newman Podcast.
Okay, welcome to the Sean Newman Podcast. Tonight I am joined in studio. You know, you're slowly becoming one of the guys I've had on quite a bit. Chris King, sorry, to give you a name.
Well, this is my goal. Every time I see you get Redden and these guys up 2, 3, 4 times, I'm like, I got to get back on. So if I pay you enough money, you say, hey, you can come on for 30 minutes and then I'll cut you off. So that's my goal. I just keep me up with the Joneses right now.
That's right, folks. Pay me enough money and you can. Yeah, that right. Well, where do you want to start? You want to start? I want to start actually third kid because last time we were on the COVID roundtable, me, you, Tomayer, and Soups, you're expecting, and now you've had your third.
Yep.
You're in the third kid life.
Yeah.
How's the third kid life been?
You know how that is. It's crazy. First of all, I didn't have the kid. My wife did. I was there. I'll be honest. I've barely been around. She's a saint. This kid.
Is your wife getting her master's or something too?
Yeah, she just started her master's. So she's at home with 3 kids. She's writing a test tonight, right now. I saw her do a quiz while feeding the baby the other day, and I was like, "You're so much better than me."
What did you tell her you were doing tonight?
Well, I had to go. I had a little issue at Hoop Factory I had to go deal with, and then I said I had a podcast, and she just gave me the look. She's like, "I'll see you tomorrow. She knows the deal. No, third kid. Awesome. That kid is smiley and sleeps good. I just wonder why they didn't make the other 2 that way, because it would have been a lot easier. If it would have been like that, we might have ended up with 5 or 6 kids. But I think we're shutting her down. She is shut down, actually, officially. So,
is it shut down?
Oh yeah, it's shut down. Dr. Saeed fixed that situation for me, so we're good to go.
What was the hospital experience like during COVID?
Well, actually, when we went in is right when they took all the patients from northern Saskatchewan. So we went up the night for delivery, and in the delivery room, when you went to the right in the hospital, it was regular delivery. On the left side, it was COVID wing. So that was a little unnerving because you don't know, is there anything that your baby can catch? Is it in the hospital? Is it all these things? So I think it adds to a level of uncertainty, and as you know, childbirth is the most uncertain thing you can ever participate in, period, right?
Yeah. Everybody knows my story by now about the third room. That was enough. That was enough. Every labor of Mel's, they were quick,
right?
But they progressively got worse. So enough about me. No visitors though? Nothing?
No, I believe when we went home, actually my parents didn't come for a while. I think my mom saw the baby just because you don't know what you can contract and stuff. So you're like sending pictures. And once again, we had 2 huge babies to start, and this one comes out half the size. So we're like, where's the rest of this kid, right? My son Nash was 26 and a half inches, 10.6 pounds. This K was, I think, 6 pounds and like 18 inches, just tiny little thing. So, yeah, so no one could come in. And then, my brother wanted to come see her. And it's the whole keep your family away, the germs, because that was right in the height of not knowing anything. And here we are months later, and we still don't really know anything. So it hasn't got any better, as you know.
Yeah. Well, 3 children. 3 children is a game changer. Actually, I was just saying to Mel as I came over here, she was changing out pictures on the wall, right? You know, you get your family photos done, and then every year you kind of swap them out. I assume most people do that. Anyways, there's this old one, and it's of Shay at her brother's wedding. And so 2 of her siblings, how the heck does this work? That isn't true. Her cousin's wedding.
You better get this right.
Yeah.
You better get this right.
So in the last, since our kids have been born, we had Shay, and then we went to her cousin's wedding, and she was in the wedding party. So I got stuck on baby duty.
Been there.
With 1 kid, I remember being so stressed. You can just imagine. I'm trying to get ready, but I got, I gave him a whole bowl of blueberries, and his poop was blue, and that, I remember that vividly. Right? That was 1 kid. I'm looking at this picture and I'm going, I remember being there. I remember being stressed out by 1 kid. How was I such a pussy? Like, I mean, back then, that was terrifying. Now, 3, you're juggling, you're just, You're
treading water. You're just trying to survive. That's what 3 kids is, right? It's literally go, 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 go. Just make it work. Because at the time, that situation, because I had a similar one with my brother-in-law's wedding, just Macy I had. And you're just like, oh my God. How am I going to do this? I have 1 kid at a wedding. I got a kid with pink eye. And now I got to but with 3 kids, it's just, you got to give up on 1 and just hope that one is going to take care of someone else. And then you just target the weakest one. So I target Nash quite a lot because he doesn't listen to his mother. He's 3 years old and he's starting to talk back. So it's, as much as I think it's hilarious, it's not good. So he's causing some issues in the split between the girls. So yeah, it's a great time with 3 kids. You know how this goes. It's just, everyone says this train wreck gets better. It doesn't look like it.
Hey, I tell you what. So Mel's sister. Now, so we went to her cousin's wedding with 1.
Right.
I was the guy looking after it. Then we went to her brother's. She was in the wedding party as well, and I had to look after the 2. And by the end of the day, I was so done. I was beyond done.
You needed a day off after.
Like, I mean, I sat on the deck in silence and drank a marmalade, or not a marmalade, a Kool-Aid of some sort, right? Like with a vodka in it, and just sat there. And she's like, "You want to talk?" I'm like, "No, I don't want to. I just want to sit here in silence." That was 2. So I've been petrified for the 3. And today I told her, I was like, by the time, COVID may help me out because the wedding was supposed to be this summer. Now it's next summer. And I'm like, I think it's going to be easier in 2. Like I've come to, I think I can handle this because I'm going to be by myself with 3 children.
You must have been drinking at the time. The COVID though, you hit it on the head that when you needed that time by yourself, because my wife made a comment the other day. She's like, you realize in COVID, you would just say I'm leaving and you would just go driving for an hour. I'm like, I don't think it was that long. She's like, I would send you to get groceries that were prepackaged. So we'd go to Sobeys. They'd deliver them. I'd get a coffee. I would literally drive around the outskirts of Lloyd and just not even think, just like zombied out. And I'd come back and she's like, it's been 2 hours. I'm like, oh, I just up and left lots of times. I'm like, I gotta go. It was not good for my mental well-being. So it could have been the 3rd kid. It could have been COVID. But you saying that you needed that zone out, I feel you. I hit the pause button a little too much during COVID.
Yeah, your wife is taking her master's.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she just started her MBA.
Is she a superhero? Is that what she is?
Yeah, she's trying to be. I think like her daily goal is just to make me look miserable, like a terrible human. So yeah, she's better than me. I've admitted it before. So she hasn't seemed to catch on yet. But yeah, she started her MBA and I think it's executive management or executive leadership. And so I see her in there feeding the baby, working on her class. Meanwhile, I'm trying to play Barbies or hockey with the other 2. So it's not really a divide and conquer.
Shay spit at me tonight. That was the new one.
How did that feel? Did it hurt you in the heart or just
Actually,
surface?
I was, I don't know. It wasn't good. But then he spit at his mother, and that made it a lot worse.
Yeah. It's taking it to another level.
I really hope someday, Chris, my kids go back through all these.
Right.
They probably won't. They'll probably think I'm an old boring guy or whatever. But I really hope they can hear that at Shay at age 4 and a bit was spitting at me, and that got him sent to his room. And I can already
And,
hear
and
him.
he was causing you grief. That's the thing they don't realize is they were doing something. At the time, they probably didn't realize it was wrong.
I was trying to tell him. We just finished wrestling, and I was trying to just like bring him out of the wrestling stage. Okay, buddy, we got to be done, right?
Yeah.
And he tried jumping on me one more time. I said, "Nope, we got to be done." And then, anger erupted.
He took it to another level.
He took it to another level.
I kind of like that, though. That's like next level. Okay, not to make it heavy parent corner, I'm going to tell you one more. My son, Nash, my wife, he doesn't listen well. I think it's a boy thing. I'm not sure. And my wife always like, Nash, look at me. Look at me. Are you listening? Look at me. So the other day, he walks up to his mom, puts his hands on her face and says, Mom, look at me. Look at me. And she starts to smirk, just like you're doing right now. And he's like, I'm hungry. And I'm like, oh my God, you're going to get us both killed. And he knew he was being funny at the same time. So yeah, those stories, they're funny and you're trying to deal with it, but you're trying to be a good parent while not laughing. And I had to leave the room.
Well, parent corner or not, kids, you always hear people tell you it's like one of the most rewarding, frustrating, blah, blah, blah things in the world. It's so true.
It's the best, yeah.
And the worst all at the same time. Like, just some days you're like, what is going on here?
So we've talked about this in private. When you think about your past life before 3 kids, what were you spending time with? Like, me and my wife, I talk about, what did we do? She's like, I have no idea. Did we go to the movies? Did we go out all the time? Now it's like I'll see her in bed or maybe at lunch, or she's sleeping. She comes in, I'm sleeping. Sometimes I don't even know we cross paths. Like, I don't know what happened pre-3 kids. I think that got blurred out of my memory, just like the earlier childbirths. It just kind of like you're trying to push that aside.
I partied a lot before 3 kids.
Get out of here.
Before kids.
Right.
Lots of movies, lots of date nights. I was probably a helpless romantic some point in time.
Listen to this suck up right here. Good for you.
You're bugging me because tonight, folks, we're drinking coffee, and I apologize to all the local coffee brewers, but we're not drinking local coffee.
It's too late for local coffee.
Well, A, true, but B, I should probably talk to somebody, and Mr. Tanner Appleton of Northman always comes up because I stop in there and have coffee at the little coffee shop he's got going on there every once in a while. And anyways, I forget what I was talking about. What the hell was I talking about?
Well, I think you're getting to being on or off the wagon is what I think we're getting at.
So before kids, you had time. I like being busy. I've always liked being busy. So back before kids, you're busy, but you had lots of time to just like piss away, and right. Still you could get things done.
Yeah.
Now you can't piss away things. So for the month of November, you're making fun of me. I got this nice little, as my wife was like, nice mustache as I was leaving, right? She hates it.
Is that what that is?
Oh, yeah. You wait. Oh, yeah. You've been growing your beard for how long, you jackass? Yeah. So a mustache for November.
Okay.
Gonna be. I got 2 buddies out at Serafina. I do work with full time working for Baker Hughes to deal with Serafina. So we got a challenge of which we tried doing. I tried doing 5K a day with them last November. I made 7 days, I think.
That's not bad.
Actually, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
And then I almost died. I was a walking zombie because I was still trying to do this and then run at 11 at night. Yeah. Almost killed myself. But anyways, so it's 3K a day this go around, and they said I could walk. I'm like, all right. So today, me and the family went for a 3-kilometer walk. It's perfect. So mustache, 3K a day, and no booze.
And this is a weird thing because I'm around you. You're every time we're together, you're off the wagon or on the wagon.
Whatever you want to call it.
And then when I text you, you're like, let's have a drink. But by the time we get around to it,
that's right.
You're like, coffee only. Kind of teasing me here.
Does that piss you off?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it does. Just a little bit. I think the last time was that pre-COVID, that last COVID roundtable. Yeah, we had drinks, and now we're drinking coffee, which is also good. But you gotta say that you probably feel you're looking muscular, you're looking fit. Since I seen you, looks like you've been pounding push-ups all COVID. So
I'm glad you're saying that. I don't know. I feel out of shape. Let's leave it at that.
But you got goals set for November, so yeah it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. Anyways, what that does, going back to it, is with 3 kids, that time is like non-existent. So you can't. You have the old late night feel like crap for 3 days.
Yeah.
Well, you started a bloody gym, man.
Yeah.
You're sitting in this, and we're oohing and on about what this is. Well, it just doesn't happen if a guy ain't working at it, right?
It's true.
And so time has become, man, it's become important. It's almost scary. I remember somebody telling me that a long time ago, and I was like, oh, yeah, you old geezer. Now here I sit talking about it.
We're getting older. That's the issue. We're getting older, and time's going quicker and quicker. And you see it when you look at your kids. I see it with the kids I coach, right? So 13 years, I see some of the players I coach now with kids that are the same age as my kids. So it makes me feel like maybe I didn't get a real kickstart at life, but everything happens in its own kind of realm. So it's cool to see that happen, but it's just blink of the eye. Things have changed. Look at it. You're in here now.
Yeah, well, the first 2 you did were in the old. We did one in that old room.
Yep.
One around the boardroom table, and now you're here.
Yeah. So next time when you get to the biggest office in Lloyd, I want in on that one. When this table doubles.
When that happens, we'll make sure that the Scotch bottle is open. I'll make sure that I don't schedule you in for a coffee only.
That's good. And I'm a Scotch wuss, so that'll be a real quick drink for me.
Speaking of seasons, basketball,
Yep.
how's that been? No, we don't even want to go there.
That's terrible. No. I will give the girls lots of credit. So we started September 1st. So my practice plan for tomorrow, I believe, is practice 38 or something like that we're on.
Okay.
No games in sight. We have 10 players because a few of the older players decided not to come back. So we are basically, we can go 5-on-5, but we are looking at January probably 15th, 16th, 17th as like the best case scenario. We're not going to be playing a full league. It's going to be some type of pod action. So I'm trying to keep a bunch of girls that are extremely competitive. As you know, anyone in college is extremely competitive, in the right mindset for 4 freaking months.
Playing each other.
I give them all the credit because they're coming in, their work ethic's great. We've had some great practices, but like the only carrot I can dangle is in 2 more months, we might play a game. Might. Now we're under the president's guideline, SAS Health's guideline, whatever the school says, that's what takes priority, right? Our school takes priority over anything else. And each institution's different. So a few institutions have backed out of the season altogether.
Who's that?
Concordia's out. Augustana's out.
Really?
Yeah. So there's a couple other schools that will not compete this year at all. They'll just practice. So, and it sounds like there might be more schools that are going to take this route. So we might have a league. We might have a mini pod season where it's us, Keanu, and Medicine Hat. And I've heard other rumors that it might be us and the Huskies and the Cougars playing in a Sask league. We don't know. It changes week to week. So I'm trying to communicate with my players. Hey, this is what might happen. This is where we're at. And they've been awesome. They do their weights 3 times a week. They do their skills sessions. They come to practice. They haven't really hung their head, but I have to think when they leave, they're like, I want to play a game. Like I want to kick someone's butt or get my butt kicked.
AJHL's playing games.
Yeah, different pods, different cohorts. AJHL doesn't report to an institution though, right? So post-secondary institutions, for the most part, are closed to the public, lots of them, right?
Okay.
So when you're closed to the public, you can't be hosting basketball games when no one's allowed in your facility. Also, our facility is under Lloyd guidelines, so we're looking at 30 people max. I know you're good at math, so if you put 12 players aside and a coach on each team, now we're getting real tight. You throw in the officials, you can't even have a game day staff, right? So we're dealing with all these different things, and as you saw, Alberta loosened it up a while ago. Great. And then now it's tightened it up. So I do say AJHL, SJHL, this is my opinion only. I think that they basically got the release from in Alberta. It was basically junior hockey and university and colleges. I think they tried to make exceptions to make sure hockey went. I think we all know hockey is Canada's sport, so they wanted to make sure the junior A hockey system was going. Them going to bigger pods is great because they can play games. Bigger pods for us means more risk, and the institutions look at it that way as now instead of having a mini pod of 50 athletes, now you're looking at 150. Now we might be playing a team from Nate who's exposed to how many more people and how many more potential cases. So it's very frustrating, but I would say our administration's been doing a great job of communicating with us. We're trying to communicate to our players. Every day something different. We're all trying to stay positive. The kids, I have the most respect for all the athletes that are here this year, going to school and staying diligent with their schoolwork and doing athletics, but it's super frustrating. It's not what you think it should ever be, right? And it doesn't matter. Are we finding a solution to COVID soon? It doesn't appear that way, right? Like this is going to keep going for a while. So whether we loosen or tighten, I don't know. The season itself doesn't look good. Ontario canceled their season already. So Nationals got canceled. I think the other conferences will cancel. Canada West canceled their season, right? So everyone's going to be playing makeshift exhibition games to keep their athletes on campus, on scholarship, coaches and staffs employed. It's not great. How confusing was that for you? Or depressing?
A little bit of both. I don't know. The longer this thing goes, I stare at it and I go, would having basketball games go with nobody in the gym be that such a terrible thing?
No. Would it be that much riskier?
Probably not.
They're already. Here's my thing about. I can only talk about my athletes, and I'm sure junior hockey is the same. We try so hard to keep them safe. We're in our training pods. We wear masks in the school. In the gym, we don't wear masks. We're slobbering on each other, sweating and hitting each other, just like a regular practice. We can't monitor when they go home or if they go out. My team, I'm trying really hard to keep them under reins. But if they go out to a party or to a restaurant or to anything else, they're exposed to just as many people as they are in a basketball game, right? So
it is impossible.
Yeah,
unless you lock them up, it is impossible to monitor anyone, especially some 18 to 25 or whatever. Yeah, 22. Like, you kidding me?
Yeah. Just think about what your coach, if he said, hey, guys, no partying at all this year. You guys can only stay with your team. You might do it. If you're a really good team, you might do it for a couple of weeks, but then you're going out.
Even do the best case, a couple months.
Yeah, sure.
We're not talking talking just a couple months. Eventually, there's something breaks the camel's back, right?
We're at that couple month mark, right?
Yeah. People start going a little bit squirrely, and they're like, screw it. Like, just screw it.
Yeah.
That's all of society. We've already seen that.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, all you got to do is go out anywhere in Lloyd, and you get both spectrums by now. And I was the guy at the start. I remember. Well, I mean, the fear is a crazy thing.
Right.
Right. At the very beginning, the fear. I remember standing in the Baker Hughes coffee room, and standing against the one wall, and just being like, I don't know if I should be in here, boys. Like, I feel pretty awkward, and everybody's just kind of like spread out. And, okay, well, and then it went like 2 months like that, or of not seeing anyone.
Right.
And eventually, I don't know. It's all the way back to where it was before, and I don't know. I'm not sitting here saying that I'm going out of my way to be dangerous by any stretch of the imagination. If you're sick, stay home. I think everybody's got that by now. But
yeah, I think people are doing better with that. I just think anything you do, you're at risk. Here's one. I have a buddy in Oakland. He's now on month 10 of work from home. Him and his wife, and he got told February at best he'll be back in the field, a landman. He's like, I can't do this. I literally can't do this at home every single day. The mental health of some people, and you talk about worrying about COVID, but just even the being at home locked up, and now it's wintertime in Canada, which means you can't do hardly anything, at least in the summer. You talk about going for walks and jogs. You can go get out with your family, and if you're really concerned, you can still be really safe. If you're not as concerned, you're still being safe for other people. But now you're locked up. What do you do in the winter? Like, what's the social events?
I don't know.
Exactly.
Honestly, I don't know. It's depressing to even think about. I was listening to Michael Campbell, I think it was. Brothers listen to Michael Campbell. He's got it's on a podcast, but he's got a radio show on 6:30 Chad for about an hour long every Saturday morning. Don't quote me, 11 a.m. I think. And it's a economy podcast or show talks a lot about the stock market and that kind of thing. But he had a guy on talking about COVID, and he was talking about, I want to say, Thailand or Vietnam or something like that, and just the mental health aspect. He said COVID, in a 69 million population, it killed, I think it was 58 people.
Right.
They had 2,000 suicides since that. And you're like...
Well, yeah, I don't... Ugh.
So, like, the mental health of it, oh, yeah, there's a ton of things not being talked about right now.
Yeah.
And it's almost to the point of absurdity. I get the COVID part.
Yeah.
But there's other things going on.
Yeah, at some point we all have to live our lives again, or I'm not sure our lives actually go back to the way they were, but even just in our building now, seeing kids, the first time they've been on a floor or doing something in months, and talking to parents that have their kids playing hockey now, where they're actually playing games, and there's just a little bit of excitement creeping, but they get to be kids again. They get to do sports and activities. Like, think about your childhood, my childhood. That's all you did was sports all the time. Whatever season it was, you were playing some kind of sport. Could you imagine when you were 10 or 14, they said, hey.
Or going in your last year midget, and all of a sudden you're
not playing this year. You're not going to finish this year, and next year you might not get a chance to play.
Nah, man, I can't. That's going into, even call it the multiplex, that building is eerie with nobody in it. When you're normally hundreds of people in there at all times, right?
Coming and going, yeah.
Just like nobody. It's like, what is going on? This is straight out of some
horror movie.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Horror movie, yeah.
Yeah, I went in there once and I was like, ugh, it is eerie. But so that's kind of where our season, coming back from the COVID, that's where our season's at right now. And like I said,
that sucks.
Administration's been awesome. Everyone's trying to do their best. They're trying to provide the best experience. But if I'm being honest, it's awful. Now we all still are.
Well, and I think it was, if I remember the roundtable right, you're the guy who was right in the middle of the season about to head to nationals.
Right.
And then COVID hits and it's just gone. And now there's no way to get even back to a game, which is crazy.
Yeah, and I tell people all the time, selfishly, that team had a shot at nationals. This year's team, the same group essentially, would have had a shot at nationals again. We have like a 3-year window where we're going to be really, really strong. So we lose that national chance. We lose this year's. And then we have that 1 year left, which is crazy. But once again, other people are hurting in different ways.
Oilers fans are saying the same thing.
Yeah. Next year. the next year.
Well, I want to talk about the Hoop Factory.
Yeah.
It's been it's been super cool to walk in and see. I haven't even seen the finished product now. I've seen videos of it.
You've got to come over to shoot your jump shots now that we're done.
Have you seen me shoot a jump shot?
No, but you told me you won your rec league, so you got some kind of talent here. You're hiding it. You're hiding it from me.
On the way over here, I was like, maybe what we should do is meet there first, have a game of one-on-one, see how bad Kinger beats me the first time. Then we could actually joke about that. But let's hear the story about how this comes about. Because for people who don't know or listening from abroad, Hoop Factory is essentially a converted warehouse, old, dingy warehouse turned into a gymnasium now where they can train basketball, volleyball athletes, essentially.
Yeah, it was, so it started in COVID. So our company, Golden Ticket Sports, did a bunch of coaching events, and we were fairly successful with that. And, as a basketball guy, I think one of the things that everyone always talks about is, man, if we only had our own facility and we can run our own camps and train athletes and provide space. When COVID hit, I think it provided a little of that opportunity. And throughout the summer, I kind of touched base with Parsons and asked them to start looking around for buildings in town. I said, I need at least 20 feet high. It's got to be about 100 feet by 100 or 100 by 80, something like that, where I can fit a legit high school basketball court in. There's a lot of buildings in town. There's not a lot that have that 20 to 24 foot ceiling anywhere. He ended up finding this building, and we went in, and B. Fisher owns that chunk of land, as you know, and went in, and there's been a diesel repair shop in there. I don't think B. Fisher had touched a lot of it for 10 or 12 years. It was not in great shape, but they were very good to negotiate with, and that's kind of how we got the ball rolling, because being a basketball coach and playing basketball, there's been lots of things, you see new rinks open up or outdoor facilities for hockey, but there hasn't been anything basketball specific. And if you look in bigger cities in North America, this is popping up. So ours now here in Lloydminster, we really got rolling on that end of August, and here we are. It was a pretty quick turnaround. We're the first kind of basketball-only facility in Saskatchewan, which is...
I just, you kind of glaze over that. You started this in August?
August 15th, we got in the door to start doing the work, yeah.
For people, like, imagine a giant warehouse that has been used by a diesel repair shop and turning it into, like, man, a super cool, clean, looking sharp gym. Like, you've done an amazing amount of work in a very, very short period of time. And the reason I say that is I got in this, I think it was like May 5th, and it was the end of May when this has got to where it's sat now for the last, right? So that's
right,
like
yeah.
half the time to do your lobby,
Right.
your bathroom. That's what it took me. So to do an entire facility like that, man, you must have been working 24/7.
Well, we had a lot of help. So myself and my partner, luckily for me, he was the teacher, Tanner Brightman. So obviously both companies are ran together. So he was up quite a lot on the weekends and late nights, and we had a lot of community help. My dad, Mike Cardis, a bunch of people that helped out whenever they could, because that's one of those projects. When we came in there was a dividing wall right down the middle, and we posted on our story today at Golden Ticket Sports Hoop Factory, the beginning to the end. I think it was like 26 pictures in our slides, and I looked at him like, oh my goodness, I forgot what it looked like right off the start to like look at it. And if you skim through it, it starts with a dividing wall in the middle. That was day one, is taking down this dividing wall, and then going from there and getting that down and scrubbing the walls and scrubbing the dust off everything. And it's kind of progressed. So we had a lot of help. It took a lot of late nights, and obviously my wife was super helpful in handling those 3 kids he kept talking about. But if you're looking through the Instagram feed, it'll start you right from the beginning on the build. That's right at the start there. So that's the Dunge. And like I said, B. Fisher was great about everything. They helped a lot in getting the building up to where it needed to be for us to get athletes in. And the final finish came... We got the floor done and ready to go last Saturday. At 4:30 a.m. we finished the floor, and we had kids on the floor at 8:30. So we left at 4:30.
How much were you shitting your pants?
Oh, man. So the shipment was late. The flooring and the hoops was late coming in. So, and one of those things, classic starting a business, nothing quite works out the way you want it to. Everything's a little bit late. Their shipping was delayed at customs, blah, blah, blah. But we got it done. I looked at my partner, Tanner, and I said, what time is it? He's like, it's 4:30. I'm like, okay, we got to take a nap. I got to be on the floor at 8:30 with these kindergarten kids, my daughter's age group. So we got it done. And all the work was worth it when you see the little kids came in, they're kind of looking around. But when we had a soft open that Saturday, and everyone's coming in and their phones are out and they're filming and posting pictures. And just to be able to provide a space like that for the community and hearing the feedback in the first week that we've been open here, it makes it worthwhile, because you realize the value that you can provide to local athletes. Tonight, we got a volleyball practice in there. We had 20 kids in there for drop-in. Before that, we had Filipino League practice. Like, there's all these different groups that are using it and staying in their cohorts, and it's pretty amazing to see. And as you see this finishing up here, as you're sliding through it, we're very proud of it. It's just, I'll be honest, I'm just so tired I can't even process the pride that we have in what we've got going right now.
I just think it's a cool, as the photos are rolling through here, and I would suggest anyone should go to goldenticketsports.inc on Instagram just to see what we're talking about. You can check out a bunch of the pictures and see some of the cool artwork and all that. Like, it's a cool spot. When you go back, if you rewind it back to the first time you roll into this building and take a look at it, did you go like, yeah, this can work? Like, you could just envision it?
Yeah, we did have a vision, and Tanner and myself had both seen a lot of places like this. And one of the inspirations came from when we played in Paris, because we did play in something very similar to this. But we had a vision in our head, and the funny thing was, in that picture, even there, my dad's helping us, and dads are the best. But my dad would come in and be like, "Yeah, I don't see it. This isn't going to work. This is terrible. This is awful," right? So if you don't know what the end result's going to look like. So for him, I had to tell him after the first week, I'm like, hey, I want you to help, but you got to stop talking about it. Just stop talking about all these problems.
Holy crap, man.
Yeah.
Wait a second. Sorry,
you gotta go back those last two pictures there. Yeah. So that's the finishing touches. So that's the bird's eye shot right there. Of the floor and the hoops in there. There's only
I'll make sure I post this on when this comes out. So if you're just listening to it today, I'll have some pictures up at the Hoop Factory on my pages as well. That way people can check it out. But man, sorry to cut you off, but it is unbelievable how far that building has come from when you started. Heck, when I brought the kids there and they saw it, right? Like
your kids mopped up some of the dirt.
That's right. That's right. Sorry, carry on. Your fault.
No, I think that's one of the things. So a lot of people, they come in there, and a lot of people were helping out, and it's hard to envision. If you don't know what the end result looks like, it's hard to say, oh, this is going to look really good. So I had to tell my dad to be quiet for a while. I think my mom gave him a second lecture on being quiet. But as it progressed, you can see when people are coming to help out, they're stopping to stare. As soon as we got it painted, it kind of added the wow factor, the black. And then you add the artwork, and now you kind of got a cool factor.
Well, there becomes a point in any project, whether you're building the house or renovating something or doing what you did.
Right.
It's like it's getting closer to the peak or getting over the hill, whatever you want to call it, but where other people can see the vision, right? You walk in at the first day and you go, you're going to do what in here?
Yep.
And then day 4, more people, oh yeah, I see what you're kind of saying. Day 7, day 20, day 40. But once it's all painted, I mean, by the time we were in there, I was like, oh, I get what you're doing. Like this is kick ass.
Yeah. Yeah, it really came along. And once again, this is one of those things that community always supports these type of things. And I think the support has been fantastic. And it's been a lot of roll up your sleeves and get in there and get dirty. But I think hopefully this pays off down the road. Obviously, there's little kinks we're working out, but everyone walks in and sees the floor and the space. And the comments have been great. And the social media posts.
How has it been starting a business right smack in the middle of a pandemic? We just talked about your basketball season and how frustrating that has been.
Yep.
How has it been opening a business in the middle of this?
I guess for us, it actually worked out well, the timing, because the schools aren't renting their gyms right now because of the risk factor. So we have to be super careful with our COVID waivers, our daily check-ins, our sanitization, the same thing that every other place is going. But we are able to provide a facility
that is open to the public. That is open to the
public, and kind of same as service center. You got to book in your times and you got to book in your rentals. But it's giving a lot of these people, like I said, they're coming in to play basketball and they haven't played in months. They haven't done anything, so they're just excited to be in the building. So COVID has actually provided a bit of an opportunity for us. And I think last time we were just chatting privately, it's also provided an opportunity for us on the coaching development side, which our Golden Ticket Sports does, where we've been able to interact with a lot of national level coaches, professional coaches, similar to your situation, people that we wouldn't have access to. Now all of a sudden we're getting David Blatz and Andre Lamanis, the Australian national team coach, to do private sessions or to do coaching clinics with us, which before probably don't have a shot at. So COVID's created an opportunity that we've kind of seized on. It's also created a lot of problems in terms of opening a business and cash flow and all those fun things that happen with COVID to everyone, unfortunately. So this is a positive.
Just think when you, a year down the road, like you're going to have so much experience on multiple different things. There's lots of problems. If you'd started this a year ago or whatever and things were rolling, maybe you don't get as much traction, for all I know.
I would probably agree with that. And I think anytime you've done this as well, starting a business, you learn a lot about yourself and your vision and what your passion is. And as I've said to you before many times, my passion is coaching, my passion is sports, and this is a chance to give back in the sport that I am coaching and currently involved in. And I think that that's what makes me so happy, is to see these kids in there playing, right? The adults and stuff, great. But to see kids enjoying the facility and being able to play and work on their game, it makes you happy. And it makes all that work worth it. But you definitely learn a lot about yourself and what's in it. And I think our company stayed very focused in what the goal was. And now there's a potential of us partnering with other cities to do the same type of project, because we did breakwater in Saskatchewan, so no one's really done this. And those hoops, as you saw, they're NBA style hoops, college style hoops, so they're portable. Most places move them on forklifts. We're moving them by hand, so we're working through the process. We have hand pump hydraulics. We're trying to get some people in town to make us electrical hydraulics, because there's all those little things that when you face those problems, you're like, oh, this is a big issue we're going to have for a while, which is a good thing, because we're changing our facility from volleyball to basketball so often. But I'll tell you what, my right arm from pumping that hydraulic on those hoops and getting the wheels up, I'm looking forward to someone getting us electric hydraulics in there so I can just push a button, man. But it's very humbling to do this kind of project.
It's been cool to watch from afar, right? Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I've never really known anyone to take on something. I shouldn't say that. I've seen lots of companies start. I know lots of guys who've started companies, but in the sporting world, this just doesn't come along that often. Where we all know I'm a hockey guy.
Yeah.
It'd be like essentially me building a rink. I mean, renting a building or buying a building and converting it into a rink. Like, yeah. I mean, that's a little harder said than done, but that's the general idea. Like, it's super cool to watch. I mean, was this always the plan? Like, did you just kind of see the writing on the wall with all the gyms closing down and go, maybe there's a play here?
Yeah, it wasn't always the plan, and our company started as coaching development. Yeah. So it wasn't like, hey, in 5 years we just had our 1 year anniversary here last week of our company. So this has all happened in our first year. We've done all these clinics and we opened a second business per se. That wasn't our vision, but it just kind of trended that way. And we had talked about a building and it'd be great. It works out well, me being here, coaching at the college and being a local here. I think that helps a lot with the building, because we're able to run some programming on the weekends and early mornings, and it still allows me to do my full-time job, and it allows us to kind of venture out into other things. So if you told me a year ago that I was going to open a facility in town that was going to be basketball, volleyball specific, I would have said you were high. But here we are. I'm 7 days in. It feels like it's been a year and a half. And
lots of people using it then? Like, you've rattled off like 5 or 6 different groups. Are you full? You got open space?
Yeah, no, we are definitely full. So we had to make sure we're staying under our numbers. So right. Making sure we're staying under 30. So I didn't anticipate even like our drop-in times, booking drop-in times. We're having like a wait list of 20 people on our drop-in times right now. We're booked with some volleyball camps, some basketball camps, ladies league basketball, men's league basketball, ladies league volleyball.
That's kick-ass.
Yeah, so tons of people are using it, and they're being really respectful to have a facility, and they're following all the protocols, which is the number one thing. They're doing their daily check-ins, and now it's like automatic. So the response has been great. People are coming in. They like it. They're commenting on it. Now, they could be being nice to me because I'm there and I'm probably cranky at the door. But no, we're very excited to have all these people in. And like I said,
when you walk up to that building and see that building, you're like, we're going to go and where? And then you open the door and you're like, oh, yeah, this will do.
Yeah. And tonight there was a kid that hadn't been in there, and I just happened to be there when he walked in, and I heard him talking. He's like, oh, man. Because you look, it's an old tin building, just like any other industrial. And to walk in there with that kind of art and the floor and everything in there, and now of course we got music playing and stuff, so it's got a cool vibe. We're very excited about it. We're very proud, but more so we're proud that we get to give back to the community. That, as I've told you before, I felt like I got to take so much locally from sports, and now to give some back to kids is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool to have in the border city too, right? Yeah. Like, it's a cool little feature that we got here. I'm wondering, I've told you this before. Used to play in the Monday night pickup basketball league over at the Holy Rosary ball court. bunch of white guys who suck at basketball and it was never their first sport, minus like one guy. I'm sure if you filmed it, it would probably bring most people to laughter, maybe even tears, maybe even rolling fits, how bad the basketball is. I'm wondering if there's space for that group of yahoos at this new facility.
There probably is. You're going to have to book in advance. But you know what? I'm getting a lot of hockey teams wanting to come in and
train? Or just use it for
like a off-ice training, right? To come in and play 5-on-5 and let them muck around. Because it is good training. And honestly, you guys coming into the gym, who cares? Are you having fun? That's all that matters. I never judge anyone playing basketball, just like I never judge anyone playing hockey or ball. If you're having fun and you're enjoying it, go hard. Go as hard as you need to go. Like, I'm sure you guys that don't play basketball all the time, when you guys play, you have a hell of a time.
As long as I'm not playing Chris King, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
you can't be too skilled, and you can't be... we play prison rules, is the way I put it, right?
there's no fouls.
There's no fouls. Yes. There's going to be a little clutching and grabbing going on. I remember my wife's brother, who was a basketball player. He's, I don't know, how tall is Matt? He's probably like 6'1". Good basketball player. He came and played with us one time. And when he got home, Mel went to him and said, well, how was it? He goes, well, I wasn't very good basketball, but they allowed like pretty much anything goes, which made it really interesting. So it was a lot of fun.
That's awesome. That's so good.
Yeah, well, you get a short, stocky guy who plays hockey for a living. We're not too worried about not the double dribble part, but the contact part. I don't even get basketball contact. It makes no sense.
It depends where you're playing. We've talked about it before. The flopping in the NBA is something else. But if you're short, you get in under the ribs. You get some cheap shots under the ribs. You probably get to hack a few times where no one's calling a foul anyways, right? I always tell my kids this was me, shortest player on the floor all the time, you get to foul 10 times more than anyone else because the refs aren't going to call it because that 6'8" guy, you slap him on the hand, you should be able to finish, right? So when you're short, you got to be cheap. That's the way it goes.
Before we move off the Hoop Factory, how do people, if they want to get, if they want to see schedules, if they want to book in, any of that, how do they get a hold of you? Where do they go?
Yeah, so they go on our website, gtshoopfactory.com. You can see all of our schedules. All of our camps are on there. You can also go on our Instagram, gtshoopfactory.inc. Everything's on there, your daily check-ins. We're pretty active on our social, Facebook as well. You can find us. But if you go on our website, you can see the calendar for the rest of the year. That's the problem right now with booking time is there's not that much time available with all the bookings right now and the little buffer we have to sanitize and change everything over. But yeah, you can find all the information you need. And if not, you can email us, gtshoopfactory@gmail.com, or call 780-870-4478.
There you go. Okay, there's your plug.
That's a great plug. Moving on.
Now you mentioned the NBA, and I've been waiting. You haven't listened to the latest Brothers Roundtable.
I haven't got to it.
Where we absolutely let's be very clear here. The Newmans are not basketball players.
Right.
We act like we can play some ball because I love being competitive, but realistically, we were never basketball players.
Right.
So when we watch LeBron cart around his trophies and talk about respect, all I could think of after we berated basketball players on their last roundtable, and I'm sure there was a couple guys be like, these guys are a bunch of yahoos. All I could think of was, well, I got Kinger coming on. I can't wait to pick his brain on LeBron James. The Lakers win. Maybe I'll get some respect now. What's your thoughts?
Okay, not a LeBron fan at all. He's the biggest, strongest athlete in the league, right? Or one of.
No. I was going to say, that might go further than basketball. That guy's a giant.
Yeah, if we're going to say, the top athletes in the world, that guy could play NFL for sure
100%.
Right now. The fact that he whines and is a baby all the time is just so annoying, and it makes basketball look bad. And the problem is now some of the other superstars complain all the time. The thing with no fans is you heard them chirping the refs and calling for fouls all the time, which I thought was hilarious because that stuff happens. LeBron winning was tough. I'm a Lakers fan. I couldn't cheer for the Lakers with LeBron there because most people that cheer for LeBron are a LeBron fan. And what I mean by that is these kids growing up now, they cheer for an athlete, not a team.
Ooh, I'm a Tom Brady fan. Yeah, don't get me going.
Well, we can get into that after. But yeah, I struggle with the LeBron thing now. Hey, going back to your brothers, I play hockey with them at lunch, and they cry quite a lot if they get tripped or slashed. So I don't know.
Hear that, boys?
Pot calling the kettle black, and one of them's worse than others, and he knows who it is.
Oh, who is that? Oh, now yeah. Oh, yeah.
He'll know. He'll know. Next time he's there, he'll know.
I'm gonna bring that up on the next roundtable. You're not gonna give me a name?
Oh no. You tell me on your next roundtable who complains the most at hockey.
Ooh, interesting. That's an The boys will probably hear this, and if they don't, I'll remember this for the next roundtable.
Yeah. So there's
Who complains the most out of the four brothers on the ice?
Yeah, because I've played against all of them, yeah, or with all of them. That's going to be good. Anyways, regardless, I don't love LeBron's a great advocate for a lot of things, and I think he's done a lot for like social media and social justice. But the NBA game, I can't stand that flopping. I like it when guys. You said you watched the Jordan doc, right? When guys are going through each other and you had to earn it and stuff. I don't even like the fact that he jumped teams and then brought arguably a top 5 player to leave his team, just basically straight up quit and demand a trade to come and play with LeBron. I don't appreciate that. I appreciate drafting players and bringing them in. I appreciated Golden State before Kevin Durant, that championship, bringing all the guys, right? The Kevin Durant thing kind of soured it a little for me.
100% it soured it.
Yeah, but the thing is, you were good. You won a championship before, and then you got Kevin Durant, and he's like, wait, I'm going to go join the best team. That's the softest thing you could possibly do. Go win a championship on your own or build something. I think that's been lost a lot in sports, is that culture piece and to the organization.
Don't you think it is, I'm being hard on the NBA, but the NBA just feels like it's so prevalent. Like it's there. And it's so like obvious that, you know, LeBron, you talk about guys cheering for a player and not a team. I was a LeBron guy when he went back to Cleveland. So when he left,
fair.
And I don't think too many people were happy about it. I thought it was a huge dick move, because I'm like, if you're gonna leave your hometown team, don't make a documentary about it. Don't make a decision about it.
That was brutal.
That you're dragging everybody through the mud. But when he came back, I cheered really hard for him to win. I remember being at BP's and was out on a date night, and I'm sure Mel hated me that night because I was like watching it. And I, by no stretch of the imagination, watched a ton of basketball games, but I was like glued to the TV for that one because it was cool. And he brings a championship back to Cleveland, of all places. And then when he goes to Lakers and everything going on there, it just, soured me on him. But I feel like that's the NBA thing to do. Try and build these conglomerate teams of superstars.
I think it comes from their AAU, right? So now kids growing up, you're not getting the best players in the state. You're getting the best players from all over on these 5 or 6 AAU teams. Same with the prep team. So they're used to just going wherever the best players are to play together. So when they get to the NBA, and I think the NBA is different than a lot of sports in the sense that I think they don't have helmets on, right? It's not like football that they're not covered up. They're visible. They're visible all the time. You also know when you see an NBA player because they're 6'8" to 6'9". You can see them in a club. You can see them anywhere. So I think they're very aware socially. They want to be on the best team. They want to be in the in. And let's be honest, you look at like an average NBA player making $13-14 million. I think there's some entitlement that comes with that because they are viewed, they are paid. I think that they feel like they can have a little bit less connection. Now, that's not everyone. I don't love some of the things about NBA. If you're asking me about FIBA Europe, NCAA, love it. Love the game, love the way it's played, but some of the NBA I just cringe at. So that's coming from a basketball guy. And I know that sounds awful, but that's the reality of it. NBA playoffs, I watched early. I watched early on. I watched a lot of stuff early on. And then as it became evident the Lakers were going to win, I watched less and less because I couldn't stomach to watch LeBron play. That bad.
What did you think of the bubble?
I thought
no fan, how they did it, how the NBA did it.
I thought they did a great job. I thought they did a good job with the testing. I thought when they brought in the families, that was good. I was really impressed the way they did it. And then the WNBA followed. Hockey obviously followed, right? I was a little shocked that baseball didn't go to it, but I'm kind of not shocked the way that baseball's ran a little bit. In NFL, they do whatever they want anyways. So, but I was impressed that NBA was able to get it done and make it safe for everyone. It sounded like there was glitches, but they worked through it. And I think they made the best of a bad situation. Now, when the NBA comes back, it's just like when hockey comes back, can you have a league for a whole year without fans?
Well, I've heard the numbers, and I don't know if this is right, so maybe I shouldn't be saying this. I'll fill everyone's head with nonsense. But I heard Brian Burke saying it the other day that 50% of what NHL teams make comes off the gate.
I would bet it's high. And I think the number's much lower for NBA because of their contracts with the TV and stuff, but that wouldn't surprise me. So how do you
knock off 50% right off the get-go?
Like, is everyone going to take a 50% pay cut? No. So now you're looking at, and once again, by the time this comes out, things could change, right? But now, okay, we're going to start January 1st. No, we're going to wait January 15th so we can get 50% capacity in there. So now let's say the Oilers game, they're seating 50% capacity. Are you charging double now to make up that money?
$20 beers?
Yeah, instead of $14.50 or whatever it is. But yeah, no, it's very interesting what they're doing. And I think NBA could get away with it for a while. I also think the only other sport that could get away with no fans is NFL. I just think NFL makes so much money, it doesn't matter.
NFL owns a day of the year. It is absolutely, I don't know, it's cool. I mean, the NFL is, it's Sundays, right? Like, I mean, it just, and I mean, even the Monday nighter, the third, like everything they
own
do,
everything.
They own, like, it's so, but they have, what is so cool about the NFL, and no other sport can do this, at least, I mean, you can give me the argument that another sport can, but they play so few games. That's unreal, right? Like, as an athlete, do you love playing 60 games, 80 games? No. Baseball, 162? No chance do they love that. Play 16 games. Every game means something.
Right.
And so when you tune into the NFL, I mean, you turn into, I don't know, the Miami Dolphins versus pick a team, and you're like, yeah, this game means a hill of beans, sure. But for most Sundays, there's like 3-4 games that are like, man, you better tune into that.
Yeah, big time games.
Big time games.
Yes. And it's got meaning to playoffs. It's got implications for draft picks and whatever else.
So you take what the last 10 games, maybe last 5 games of the NHL is, and then the first round of playoffs. You take that type of atmosphere and string it out over a season, and that's what the NFL's got. I mean, baseball, it's, you can use the analogy on any
playoffs,
sport and put it into what the NFL. They got playoffs all year long. Yeah. That's what it is.
I think that's why the NFL fans, they will never go away from it, right? Like, I'm sure there's a lot of NHL fans at times have been turned off by things that the NHL's done or whatever, and they probably still came back. NFL fans are not going anywhere. It doesn't matter. You're going to watch your 6 or 7 home games, and you're going to pay. My cousin has tickets to Seattle. So they have season tickets. They live in Victoria. They fly down for the game. So we got to go, my dad and my brother and a friend. We went once to that game. 10 a.m., the tailgate. It's full go. That was like a 2 p.m. kick. It was full go the whole morning. I couldn't believe that people were still standing. But it's like a cultural thing. And the more people I talk to, I realize, like, this is one of the 7 games that we get. And I'm taking tomorrow off work. I've already booked it off a year in advance. And
we're going.
And we're going hard. And the atmosphere is unbelievable. It's a full day affair.
Well, I mean, I've been to NFL games now, and like Green Bay was something else. You can't, maybe if you watch the TV, you can pick it out. But I remember watching Green Bay games and just green and gold, and whatever. But when you show up, the stadium is in the middle of residential, right?
Yep.
So you're tailgating in someone's backyard. You're actually pulling into their backyard and setting everything up. Then everything is camo and hunter orange. I was dressed from head to toe in hunter orange. I thought it was a joke. And then I got there and went, oh, I'm going to fit right in, right?
Yeah.
And it's cold, but they love that.
Yep.
And it's windy and snowy and whatever, they love that. And it is just like, it's go time, like you say. And then, I mean, my wife's from Minnesota, so I've been to the new stadium. The atmosphere in there is like, then you go to an Oiler game, and no offense to the Oilers, but you go to an Oiler game, and it's just a regular season game. They're playing Chicago, and they're down 3-1, and it is silent. You're like, man, how is there even a comparison? There is no comparison.
I don't think there's anything close to it. And being at a lot of Oiler games, especially in the new building, you always feel that. I haven't been to a playoff game, obviously, but in that new building, you're like, oh my gosh, like this is gorgeous, but it's so hollow. Whereas when you go to NFL, everything's on top of you. And the other cool thing with the NFL is you think about that one game, how many jobs it provides in the community, just that little chunk of the year, September to December, all the pubs. You probably paid someone $20 to park in their yard or something. Right?
Oh, guaranteed.
And so did a bunch of other dudes.
100%.
Yeah. And then you were paying for something, hot dogs, or like you just think the whole way, and then you think after all the pubs when you go back into town, like it is a whole lifestyle thing.
God, I don't know why I talk about the NFL all night long, because that's what they do. But even, right, it's first down, second down, it's third down, and then the big horn goes off because you got to shut them down. Or you got to shut them down on third down, right? Yeah. And the place is going nuts when God, it's that experience, if you could bottle it up or put it to any other sport, that's what they're all trying to recapture.
Yeah.
That's why nobody and on top of that, I feel like COVID screws up the NHL. So everybody around our area, let's talk Lloyd, Saskatchewan, Alberta. The NHL playing through the summer months, man, I know so many, I know there's people out there, I watched every game. Yeah, that's great for you. Most people were at the lake, were outside, and didn't give two craps once Edmonton was out, once the Canadian teams were out. They had other things going on. The NFL hasn't skipped a beat, is right in their wheelhouse of this is when we're playing, and we're going to play, and we're going to carry on, and that's what they were doing. And so it's like you haven't missed anything. And so all the NFL people, right into it.
Yeah, they're going to go no matter what. Did you think when you were watching the hockey games, I felt that basketball, not bad without fans because the camera's in close enough. Football, not bad. They can pipe in the noise. But hockey, when I watched it, it just felt blah. Yeah, it just was like, because the camera's out so far and it doesn't matter what you do. You're like, oh my God. I'm sure the players felt intensity, but it just doesn't look good on camera with no fans. Like you just know that's think of playing in any rink you played in, even in senior hockey, and no one in the building. It's like my rec game at lunch. There's no one there. Someone scores a goal and you're like, good job, man. Good job. Nice pass. like it just dead. So I can't imagine that for them. But NFL can do it no matter what.
NFL can do it. Yeah. The other one I thought they did a good job. Like I think it looked really good, but is baseball. When you're in the World Series and the building is going nuts and you can just feel like, holy crap, one pitch and they're done, or one, and the amount of pressure on those players, right, when you get however many thousands of fans are jammed into those buildings, and it's like, I thought baseball missed out on having no fans too, or having, at the end they had a few fans in there, but
9,000 or something like that.
Yeah.
They did figure out the piping of the sound a little bit as that went on, because when I watched the Braves fan, so I had to watch that crushing loss, but it did feel, I was arguing with a buddy and he's like, oh, there's got to be 20,000 people there, and I looked at the attendance and it was 9, but with the piping of the sound, it actually sounded like a home game or an away game. So yeah, I just sucker for punishment on baseball watching that. But yeah, I can't wait to see fans and to feel those atmospheres. And
when it's back. Yeah,
and just think about, you talked about hockey. Hockey regular season isn't played at the intensity of playoffs. It can't be. You can't play a whole 82 games like that. Now
you can't play 60 games at high intensity.
Well,
like that.
Even at the end of playoffs, like all the broken bones and how guys are playing through and how many guys you got to pull up just through the NHL playoffs. But how is the intensity going to be in a no-fan season in Game 40? Holy. Guys are going to be faking injuries all over.
I bet you Connor McDavid gets like 160 points.
Just kills
because it's rec hockey.
Yeah.
Did you hear the OHL?
I saw that.
No body contact?
So you're an OHL player. You're asking to be traded, right?
I honestly, I don't know. I've said it on a previous podcast. I'm like, I feel like the NHL is slowly moving towards no body contact anyways. This is just going to speed it up.
The game shifted for sure, but now even the minor hockey, right? They're shifting the hitting for COVID and stuff. Up. Yeah. I just don't know. So those OHL dub the Q, that's the mini NHL, right? You're trained exactly for the NHL every step of the way. So how are you preparing those guys for the NHL if for a whole calendar year they don't have any
No hitting.
contact? You're costing those guys money and draft spots and contracts, whether it's in NHL or Europe.
And yet, if they get to play, the WHL right now isn't going to start until, what is it, January 1? Is it December? It's one of those two. I'm spacing on the date, but
out of province stuff, yeah.
Right, like their dub guys are going back to junior A teams right now. Between the AJ and the SJ, any team can have up to 4 dub guys on their teams for the next 6 weeks or whatever it is.
It creates a really good junior A league when you're playing.
You can't have any fans to go watch it. Can you imagine going and watch the Bobcats and there's, you got all these local kids that are in the dub and they all come back and play for their hometown team? You would have a sellout every night, and all they can have is whatever the number is, 150 fans.
Yeah.
It's got to be heartbreaking.
And you got to watch online. I know. And that's the best quality you could ever get. Getting those guys back in the building and the excitement that you would have. Yeah, it's brutal. But once again, dub, I thought the O would be okay other than the outbreaks, but the dub, you got the states and you got so many provinces. That's why the AJ and the SJ can go, is because you're just staying within the province.
Provincially.
Right? This is why Lakeland struggles with the ACAC right now, because we are under SAS Health. Everyone else is under Alberta Health. So that puts us in a weird spot being on a border city. The one time that being on the border is not great.
A benefit.
Yeah. I remember growing up playing for Team Sask and Team Alberta because you could go either way within 20 kilometers. That's a benefit. This, not helping. Not helping. But yeah, all the sports are suffering. So those kids, pro sports, you talk about it like all the way down. And I talked about this our last talk that we had. Think about all these hockey players that don't get to play that were supposed to get drafted. Or I'm now recruiting grade 12 basketball players that they didn't finish grade 11 and they are not going to play in grade 12. And I'm expecting that kid to come in and play college off of what I saw in grade 10. There's no other games. There's nothing I could see. Some of these kids haven't even been in a gym to work out. So I am praying that this kid is still okay and they're going to come in to college level of not touching the ball in 18 months. How's that going to work out? I can tell you how it's going to work out. Not well. It's not going to work out well for these kids unless they're getting in a gym. So everyone's getting knocked up with that.
Can you imagine if you could rewind the clock when LeBron James is in grade 11, if he didn't get to play his high school years, how that would have affected things? He
might have went to college.
You wonder who will be the winners and losers out of what's going on. Because some kid's maybe he wouldn't have caught your eye, and maybe now he caught your eye in grade 10, but as he went along he didn't, or what have you. Now he's going to get a spot, or she's going to get a spot, not he. And maybe they'll be a great surprise to you.
Could be. You know who's going to win out of COVID though for athletes? Is the ones that have the genetic gift, right? I think the hard workers, the ones that work all the time on their skill and grind it out and do little things right, if you can't play or practice, what's a coach going to see if he sees just a small sample size? The talent, the jumping, the running, the stuff that catches your eyes. When I go watch a basketball tournament, there might be a kid that I'm like, oh, that kid works really hard, or she does this really well. And the more you watch her, the more you fall in love with their game. And you're like, this is going to make us good. But the one that catches your eye is the one that jumps over everyone or runs faster or does something.
The gazelle.
Yeah, they have the genetics. And that might not be the best player in the long run, but that's the player that everyone gravitates to. So in terms of hockey, you see that skill and you're like, that's the guy I need. But the guy that you need to center your second line that's going to take all your face-offs and kill penalties for you doesn't get seen as much. That's what I worry about. So I think you're going to see a lot of mistakes being made on the recruiting thing. I can't talk for hockey. I can just talk for my sport, but I know exactly what's going to catch our eye if we get to see anything, and it'll be those kids that are genetically gifted, I would say.
Last Dance. Before we get to the Final Five, I got to ask you about the Last Dance, because you were hot and heavy for the Last Dance, and I believe on the COVID roundtable, it was either just about to come out or the first couple episodes had just come out. Now, I know it's probably the best thing that happened in COVID. If people can believe it, my wife and I literally sat and watched it together, right? It was like, I don't know, pick your TV show you want. You want Game of Thrones, which was fantastic, or maybe you're into Grey's Anatomy or The Bachelor, Bachelorette, something like that. I don't know, just spitting out names. It was a show that we marked on it's Sunday night. We're sitting down, we're watching.
Yeah. It was unbelievable. So that was the era that I started to shift a little bit, being a hockey player, shifting into basketball, because I got to see Jordan on WGN in the 90s, which was unbelievable. So anyone that got to see Jordan, this is why I struggle with the LeBron Jordan thing. To me, it's not close. To win a game, a single game, a championship, it's Jordan. It's not LeBron. I would always put my money on him. I will, till that no one's going to tell me different. LeBron's career over the lifespan might be better, but Jordan's a killer. And you see that in the video. Jordan's an absolute killer, which, by the way, I got to talk to Clark about getting Jordan to sponsor so he can have a Jumpman on Hoop Factory. That's got to be done in the...
When you do that, let's get him on the podcast too, and
Yeah.
we'll blow up everything.
Good. Let's just hammer that from all angles there, because a Jumpman under the Hoop Factory in Canada, that would be deluxe. But going back to that, watching that whole process, I think it made me like Jordan even more. So I've watched it now 3 times, because now...
You've watched the entire thing 3 times?
Yeah, so I work out with the girls, and you have to supervise the weight sessions now. So I got to be in the weight room when the girls work out in the mornings, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So when I go on the treadmill, episode 1, I started it over again, and now I've watched it through again. The way that his competitiveness comes out, and the way that his teammates respect him, even though they know that sometimes he crossed the line, that ultimately it was about making him better, making the team better. I think that was the coolest thing. And to see my athletes talk about it, coming back and talking about watching it, all my kids watch it. And my girls don't watch basketball. They don't. But they all watch that. They all texted after every episode, like the things that they liked. So we even had a chat about, like, what did we take from The Last Dance? Because I didn't need to watch it as a team, because they already watched it. As a hockey guy, what was your biggest takeaway watching that? I'm flipping it back on you here just quickly, but what was your biggest takeaway?
Well, you understand why Jordan transcended basketball. Like, he is one of how many athletes that are just larger than their sport. Tiger Woods was one of them.
Yep.
Tiger Woods now has a little bit of a smear all over him, and we all know why, right?
Yep.
Back then, Wayne Gretzky was certainly one of them, right? But Wayne Gretzky's kind of like this ridiculously nice guy, right?
Right.
They never let you into what he...
You've never heard a bad story about him.
Right.
Yeah.
Where seeing Michael Jordan like that, you're like, man, he does not have an off switch. Like,
No.
it is... That scrimmage game where they're playing the Dream Team, I think?
Yeah.
Like, that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, that is unbelievable. Now, me being a guy that loves sitting across and picking guys' brains, the Dennis Rodman leaving thing is unbelievable. The way Phil Jackson handled that is unbelievable. And if there was one guy, obviously Jordan, if I could get anyone off of that documentary, I'd take Jordan in a heartbeat to sit across from.
Right.
But my number 1A or 1B or whatever you want to call it is Phil Jackson. I got to read his book. I got it on my list, and I never had Phil Jackson on the list of, like, man, I'd really like to get him. He was not on it. But after that documentary, damn sure he's on it now. Like,
You'll like his book. You'll like it.
His mentality is... I always heard he was the you gotta understand, I didn't follow basketball that much. Like, yeah, you follow the great ones, and I remember everybody being Chicago Bulls insanity back in the 90s, but I just didn't really. And Phil Jackson, greatest coach, yeah, sure, whatever. But hearing him talk and he's mesmerizing. It's interesting. The other thing I also take from the entire documentary is, no matter how good something is, somebody is always going to be there to be like, yeah, we got to change things up. We got to do, right? Like, how can ownership and the GM be like, you guys are getting too old, you can't do this? Like, it's like, man, just ride that until it falters. Just go until they can't go anymore. Let Jordan play out his career there and be done.
It's kind of like trading Wayne Gretzky. But staying on the basketball, those are non-basketball guys making those decisions. So it's funny you brought up those points because Phil Jackson, to me, Steve Kerr's really getting there, but Phil Jackson's so unique the way that he handles situations.
Steve Kerr would be number 3 on my list of guys I'd like to.
Yeah, and Kerr's a unbelievable speaker.
Oh, yeah.
So I bought Jackson's new book, 3-Ring Circus. So it talks about the time with the Lakers with Kobe and Shaq and all the stuff that was actually happening and how he handled it. And it was absolute chaos. But he kind of had a way of handling everyone separately at the same time. So when you hear Rodman talking about stuff, which I thought that episode was so unique because he's talking about, this is the craziest guy in the NBA who wears dresses and dyes his hair, but he goes into the gym for hours and has his friend shoot hoops so he can figure out which way the ball's going to bounce. And he was so similar, my takeaway was he was so similar to Jordan in he had just one unique focus. Jordan's was winning, and Rodman's was, I'm going to help us win, but I'm just going to rebound and play D. Like, this is my thing. I can just do that. And I thought that was pretty cool to see how everyone kind of a little bit absorbed Michael's personality. And then the time that Michael got emotional, I really enjoyed that part where you can tell there's some regret in the way that he treated his teammates. And they said that there was 2 times he stopped taping. One was when he talked about his teammates. He said, I never made them do anything that I didn't do myself. And the other time was when he was talking about his dad. And I thought that was pretty unique that when he's reflecting upon how he treated his teammates, you can tell it ate him up, but it was just about winning. And he would do it the same because he knew that got them to the end goal. I thought that was pretty cool when he said pause there. I thought they filmed it well. It was directed well. It was really impactful to me.
And it was perfect timing that it came out in COVID. Like,
because it had all the eyes of the world, right?
That was good. That was good television.
Yeah.
That was... I heard that Golden State had been offered to have cameras go with them, and they declined that.
Yes, I think they did. They did a mini. I think there's one coming out on Kobe's last year, but it's not the same. I think it was because they knew it was his retirement. But Golden State did decline that on their last run.
Right? Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Having cameras in everywhere would be uncomfortable, I'm sure. But the footage it creates for down the road is unbelievable.
I got to say, seeing them drink beer in the training room after and have cigars or on the road, I think that's pretty cool because I don't even know if they're allowed to do that anymore, to be honest. But just to like see that kind of thing, that's pretty awesome.
Well, let's go into the Crude Master Final 5. I know you're probably up till 2 a.m. doing work on the old the hoop factory, so I don't want to keep you here all night as you rub your eyes. And
hey, no one's bothering me too much yet. No text from the wife. We're okay.
Well, shout out to Heath and Trace McDonald, supporters of the podcast since the very beginning. I've got 5 for you today. All right. If you were to get to headline a late show, whose late show would you want to go on?
Well, I think so. I'm a big fan of Jimmy Fallon. I find him hilarious, but I started watching David Letterman's new.
I know.
It is so. I watched the Chappelle episode first, and I was just blown away. So it'd be David Letterman. I think seeing him in like those hour sit downs, he's so unique the way that he can connect to people, and yeah. So Letterman for sure.
God, I'd like to interview Letterman.
And he was at the peak when we were growing up. Right?
I know.
That was the show.
The guy I watched.
That was the show. Yeah.
And to see him come back when he first came back, and I saw that, I'm like, yeah, whatever. And then I watched an episode, and I'm like, oh my God. Like, yeah.
He's good.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
This airs on Wednesday.
Okay.
The election is on Tuesday.
Yeah.
I don't want your choice. I want who you think's going to win, Trump or Biden. Or Kanye West.
Yeah. You might as well be Kanye West the way the U.S. is headed. I don't know. It seems like it's going to be a mess. I'm going to say Biden just because I think the recent events and I think some of the major promises that didn't get followed through on might hurt him. It might not in the long run. I think this is going to be one of those wild things that like whatever happens, whoever wins, there's going to be ballots missing or votes missing or some kind of collusion. I don't think this is going to be pretty. And I think the thing that we can all agree on that we've seen in the U.S. is the deterioration of politics and what democracy stands for, in my opinion. I think their system's broken, but I would lean toward Biden, just would be my guess. But also, Hillary was supposed to win last time, and she didn't. She got more votes, but didn't win. So.
And by the time this is tuned in Wednesday, we'll know.
And both those guys could easily be done by Wednesday because they're getting up there in age. My goodness, two of the oldest. Like, you look at Obama. Obama's still younger than those guys. So we might have someone totally different in there. Who knows?
If they were to recreate one basketball movie and they brought Chris King in to headline said movie, I'll rattle off some names for you just so you can have a few.
I got it.
Coach Carter.
Okay.
Teen Wolf. Hoosiers. Space Jam. White Men Can't Jump. He Got Game. That's in my mind.
Those are all good ones.
Did I miss one?
Above the Rim. Do you say Above the Rim? That's a good one.
No, I haven't said Above the Rim.
Blue Chips is good with Shaq and Penny Hardaway. It's like recruiting violations. It's pretty good. Those are all good. I'm surprised you came up with that list. That's a good list.
Well, I mean,
you did your homework.
Yeah, well, and those are some good movies. I mean, Coach Carter. Actually, the one I was gonna put in there, but I haven't seen it yet, is the new Ben Affleck one.
I haven't seen it yet.
It looks good.
It does look good. I heard mixed reviews from basketball people though. So
okay, well, I mean, yeah. I mean, how can you? Denzel's my man. Denzel is right high on the list.
Me too.
If I ever get a chance, I mean, I'm gonna be pumped. But like, He Got Game was awesome.
Yeah.
White Man Can't Jump. Woody Harrelson and
so for me, that's my favorite of all time.
White Man Can't Jump.
Yeah, I think I just love the dynamic between him and Wesley Snipes and the back and forth and the talking smack and the taking money from people. So my high school graduation present from my basketball coach, Mike Cardis, who was helping at the facility, he got me the DVD of White Man Can't Jump, and I still have it to this day. But yeah, just the back and forth in that is unbelievable. But Blue Chips would be right behind for me because it's like a coach grasping at straws and breaks all the rules. He buys a guy a tractor, he gets another guy's mom a house and a job, and just to win. So, yeah, I would love to be Woody Harrelson because I think doing a movie with Wesley Snipes would be the best. Yeah.
Well, actually, but it wouldn't be Wesley Snipes because it'd be a remake. So who would be your co-star? Who would you banter with?
Who would be able to give it back? It has to be someone athletic enough. God. Because right now all I'm thinking is comedians, and that wouldn't work if it's a full comedian.
I was thinking Chris Tucker, but
that's what I was thinking. First one to my head because it would be so funny. But then I'm like, can he play ball? Oh, okay. Let me come back to that at the end and see if I can get someone that's pretty athletic. Because I think about a lot of sports movies, and Wesley Snipes is pretty good in a lot of those, right? Major League, like unbelievable. I don't even know if he can play baseball, but he talks smack and stole bases, right? So I was a big fan of Wesley. I got 100 of these, one for every bag I'm going to steal. Yeah.
He was in The Fan too, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Him and De Niro?
Yeah, that was a great one. Yeah, he was in The Fan. He had a string where he was in.
He was like
every sports
really,
movie,
and he was really, really good. Yeah. I think I asked this one maybe to Tanner. No, Evelyn. I can't remember now. If you got to be in a celebrity WWE match, and you could pick one wrestler to come be your tag team partner, who would you take? It could be current and past. I mean, WWE brings back people all the time.
Right. I think I would have to take The Rock just for like what he's accomplished. My favorite wrestler was the Ultimate Warrior growing up. He was my favorite wrestler by a mile. But I think I'd have to take The Rock just because of all the little extras in knowing what he became. But the Ultimate Warrior was out of control.
Would you put on the same
same outfit. Yeah, for sure. Think of this body right now with those on, not seeing the sun for months. Yeah, that would be me for sure. Ultimate Warrior was pretty good, but the Rock was he was pretty unreal, that little stint he was on there before he took off with the acting and everything like that.
Yeah. The Rock is also on my list. Okay. I asked you last time if you were a fan, a spectator, what final game of what major sport would you go to? So now, we asked this on the Brothers Roundtable, and now I'm curious your thought. If you were an athlete, a player in a game, and you could hit the buzzer beater, hit a walk-off, score an OT, or catch or run in the winning TD, no time left, of the championship games. We're talking Game 7 MLB, the World Series, Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals, Game 7 of the NBA Finals, or the Super Bowl. Which one would you want?
Yeah. Is the walk-off a home run?
Yeah.
Yeah. Walk-off home run.
Walk-off dinger?
Yeah.
You're not sticking. You're not Kawhi Leonard.
Hit. No, Jordan last shot would be like unbelievable.
Yeah.
A walk-off dinger hitting that where you're rounding second and seeing your team coming out, and then getting to home and doing the helmet toss. Yeah. Walk-off dinger. You underestimate the baseball side of me sometimes, but yeah, walk-off dinger, I think.
Imagine your bat flip on that.
I don't. If you hit a walk-off dinger, I'd probably run with it to first base, and I'd probably be sprinting because I would be so shocked that it happened. But the feeling of hitting a home run is so different than any other feeling, and I say this all the time. A wood bat ball hit squarely, the crack and the way that it feels, it is the best sporting sound. It's better than like the swish of a mesh or chain or like barring in on hockey. It's just the best sound and feeling.
It's a pure sound.
Yeah.
And the other pure sound that comes to mind immediately, although this is obviously biased to me, is the sound of a puck on fresh ice with nobody there and it echoes. That's a great sound.
Do you like the puck better or the skates when you're ripping the ice by yourself?
Puck.
Really?
The skates is great.
Yeah.
But the puck is what reminds me of like a frozen pond. You're outside. It's cold. It's crisp. And you drop that first puck. It's a great sound.
Getting romantic here about sports. Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Did you play any ball through the summer? Coach any ball?
Baseball?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had like a 8-game season or something like that for senior. So I played 6 of the games as away on vacation.
You know, it's funny. I never asked. You're right. I never asked you about ball. As soon as you said that, I'm like, it sounded like you don't.
Yeah,
play.
well, it's a weird season. So we played, us older guys, we'd play 4 innings, and the young guys would play 3 innings. And it was awesome because it was a social outing. But like the first couple games, everyone had to travel in their own vehicle. Baseball, no spitting on the diamond, no sunflower seeds. I can tell you by game 5, I saw seeds, I saw chew, I saw beer on the bench, like for after the game, like it was back to senior baseball. But the first couple games, like when umps are like, okay, no chew, no seeds. And is it really baseball without those 2 things?
No, it is not. No.
So yeah, I was thankful I got to get out. I got to do something for a little bit. It was very, very short-lived. And the downside when you're off that long and you're old is you get sore really quick. I ran at a men's league run on Monday night. I haven't played basketball in 4 years. I played for like 25 minutes. Every muscle in my lower body hurts. And I skate quite often. Skating's nice because you can glide and turn. You have to move your legs in basketball to get to the other end.
You're saying hockey players are soft.
No, I'm just saying I like in hockey when I'm dog tired that I know I can make a big U-turn and get halfway back to my end. I might not get back there to back check, but at least it looks like I'm trying. Running, I'm on one spot bent over, holding my knees, and everyone's like, what are you doing?
Well, I appreciate you coming in. It's always a pleasure having you in, Kinger.
Yeah, thanks, man.
It's always entertaining. It's good to sit down with you and wish you nothing but success here with Hoop Factory and Golden Ticket Sports, and look forward to seeing what you guys do here in the future.
Well, thanks a lot. Thanks for having me on as always, and you keep getting bigger and bigger, so don't forget about me here in the future.
Likewise. Hey, folks, thanks again for joining us today. If you just stumble on the show and like what you hear, please click subscribe. Remember, every Monday and Wednesday, a new guest will be sitting down to share their story. The Sean Newman Podcast is available for free on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and wherever else you find your podcast fix. Until next time.
Hey, we didn't get to football, though. We were supposed to get to your little, your Brady hard on.
Let's do it here for 2 minutes. Sure.
Let's go.
Your Steelers are 7-0.
Yeah, defense, man.
Hey.
Best coach in the league as well. Best coach in the league.
After hours, we back.
Yes.
He wanted a little NFL talk. We talked about the NFL and tailgating, but we never actually got on to the current season. So fair.
Mm-hmm.
I was a Patriots fan, but I was not a Patriots fan because I was a Tom Brady fan. And everybody gets sour when I say that. So now I'm a Buccaneers fan. And when Tom Brady retires, I'm no longer a Bucs fan. I will be a Vikings fan because I've been to Vikings games. My wife is from Minnesota. And I know going to college in Green Bay in Wisconsin, the Wisconsin people are going to hate me for saying that. But the atmosphere in Minnesota is unbelievable. And I'm going to hopefully get to experience that for the rest of my life at least once a year, which, I mean, I can't say that for any other team. So going to all this, I'm a Tom Brady fan. I follow the guy. He is the best. You can't argue him. Everything about the guy is unreal, except the only thing that frustrated me is I went, why don't you just retire a Patriot? That's the only thing that bothered me. But now seeing him as a Buck and having fun and maybe the reins are a little loosened. Gronk's back.
Oh, my God. This is why this is after hours, because I would have just walked out. If you started with this, I would have left. Like, I'm going to have to wipe the mic off. There's going to be puke on the mic from this Tom Brady love. Oh, my God. Okay. Yes, he should have stayed at Patriot. That would have been the noble thing to do.
That would have been a noble thing to do.
But because he's so arrogant, he wants to prove that he can do it on his own, which he's not going to do it on his own, but I will give him credit. He went to the best possible situation.
I think he's answered the question, Belichick or Brady right now.
Belichick's team is playing third stringers. He's got guys not playing. Oh, my God. Get serious. Get serious. So you got Tom in Tampa who cannot throw like a 10-yard out now. It's like five-yard dumps all the time. Just dump it off. Thank God. Gronk, now, what is this, week 7 or what week are we in? I don't even know what week we're in, but regardless, the first 3 weeks, Gronk looked like he was still on the party cruise. It looked like he hadn't really played football.
He probably was on the party cruise.
Yeah, now it looks like, he can block and run, and there's some Gronkish things, but Tom Brady is Tom Checkdown. Let's be honest. He cannot throw the ball like he used to. The guy can't even remember what down it is this year. That's how old he's getting. 3, 4. I will give you credit. He's a competitor. He wants to win. But he is in a really good situation in what we would probably say a little bit of a weaker division this year.
I would agree.
Him making playoffs, I think, is a big plus. How long does he play for down there? When does it go south? Because I have to believe the Pats are going to be good within a year or two. It's just inevitable. Even though they've had like 10 bad draft classes, he figures out a way to get it done. And the Newton thing seems to be a failure, but
I thought the Newton thing was going to work. When they signed Newton, I was like,
it's just so many hiccups in his game, just like fumbles and just not doing things that he should have done all the time in Carolina. Like that 1 year in Carolina was such a one-off.
Yeah.
Right. But anyways, I don't know if I can handle you cheering for the Bucks just for Tom.
Why?
Why
does that bother you so much? Listen,
just pick a team, man.
No. Okay, so
you can cheer partially for him.
No, I'll bring it back to why I do this. Okay, can I tell you why I do this? I'm a diehard Oilers fan. It almost brings me to tears when they lose out of the playoffs or do awful things or suck as bad as they do. It drains life from me.
But you're used to it.
It's true. And what I said was, after that, I said, you know what? No more of this. I can't do this across 4 sports. This takes up too much of my brain. Like, my brain hurts. My body hurts. And then they get McDavid and Draisaitl, and they should be just, like, fun to watch. And you go watch half their games, and you're just like, what are they doing out there some days? Like, fuck. But that's me. Right to the core. Okay? That's what I cheer with the soul for the Oilers. Okay? And I swore never again for any other sport because I just can't handle the ups and downs. I can't handle a team missing the playoffs for 10 bloody years. It is painful.
Right.
So what I did is I remember when Tom Brady got the call up that playoffs, right? And I was like, oh. And I kind of heard the song, oh, that's kind of cool. And then they win, whatever. And you're like, oh, cool. So everybody goes, oh, you're a Patriot fan because they won. I'm like, well, kind of. Like, I don't know. I like Tom Brady. I like what he talks about. I like that. That he's a pretty clean-cut guy and he's not a jackass, and you call him arrogant, and I'm like, I just think he's confident. I think he's awesome. And so I did that with that. And then when it came to basketball, when LeBron came back from Cleveland, I went, I'm going to cheer for Cleveland because I like LeBron. I like what he's doing. I like that he came back and owned up to it. I like that he won. And then he goes to L.A. I'm not a Cleveland fan anymore. I could care less about the Cleveland Cavaliers. And Now, I'm not a LeBron fan in the Lakers because he just, I don't know, he kind of is a jackass and he's in the Lakers and whatever. But I can't do that with teams. I can't just, I got my sport, I'm an Oiler fan, and once I stray away from there, after Tom Brady retires, I'll become a Minnesota Viking fan, all right? In the NFL, you're going to hear me. I'm going to be green and gold. Green and gold. I'm seeing Wisconsin is stuck in
Yeah, you got the wrong team there, bud.
Purple. God, that's hard to say. I just don't like being held down to teams. I like cheering for athletes. Why can't I cheer for an athlete? What's so hard about that?
So basically, what you're telling all your listeners is you got your sports heart broken so much, and it hurts you so much you can't cheer for teams because you're just so heartbroken about it. Now, that's what sports is about, the pain of losing, what you do with the Oilers. I'm a Braves fan. You know how much, we're really good and we barely ever win. And I take chirps all the time. I'm not leaving that. I'm not leaving the Steelers.
But how, I guess my question is then, how did you fall in love with the Braves?
TBS. Maddox, Smoltz, Glavine.
Back in the day, that's fair.
Chipper
that's
Jones.
Fair. Chipper Jones.
They were on TV once again. That Eastern time zone. Watching the games after school. I fell in love with them. Even to this day, all my friends that are Jays fans chirp me because obviously.
Yeah, and so I don't know. I struggle because, everybody hates, well, not everybody hates, but a lot of people hate Barry Bonds. But I remember the Barry Bonds years of the San Fran Giants, and those were really fun to watch. I guess I just never, I don't have this memory of growing up watching the NBA and watching the Lakers win a championship or the Celtics or whoever you want to throw in there. So to me, I guess it's hard to get on. I guess tomorrow, if you like, I could put up a dartboard. We could throw a dart, and I could become give me somebody random. A New Orleans. What's their basketball team?
Pelicans.
The Pelicans. Sure. You want me to do that? I mean, I can do that just to say I got a team.
This sounds like a charity event, is what it sounded like.
Yeah, well, it kind of is for the NBA. I mean,
so will the Oilers' love not die then, no matter what? McDavid's gone.
Oh no, the Oilers.
That's staying.
Yeah.
So it's just the other sports.
It's just the other sports. I have a hard time. I always grew up like the only thing that could. I'll clarify this: Oilers, Rough Riders.
Oh, okay.
But in fairness to, and now maybe I tell you what, I got to get to a Rush game because growing up in Saskatchewan, we had no pro sports except for the Rough Riders. So you cheer for the Rough Riders. It's why Rough Riders have so many damn fans. Saskatchewan has nothing else. Now we got the Rush in Saskatoon. I'd like to go watch it. I hear it's phenomenal.
I hear it's a great event. Well, let's do this and let's make this a plan. Non-COVID, let's say next spring, summer, we go watch the Rush and we'll watch the Siebel Professional Basketball League in Saskatoon.
It's a professional basketball league in Saskatoon?
Yeah, so Edmonton's got a team. The Rattlers are in Saskatoon. The Stingers are in Alberta. The Rattlers won 2 years ago. So I think there's 6 or 8 teams.
Wait. Did you say basketball or baseball?
Basketball. Yeah, Siebel. They've done a great job marketing. They had a bubble. They were the first.
All the basketball people are like, this guy's a moron. That's great.
No, it's all good, but it was the first league back in a bubble. They were doing their championships before anyone else, so they got everyone in the bubble in Ontario and did a little championship.
Well, it better be better than the one. I've been to one NBA game. I went and watched the Minnesota Timberwolves play the Cleveland Cavaliers post LeBron, and Kevin Love didn't play. It was beyond terrible.
That's rough. I can't imagine that.
Am I going to have a better experience than that?
No. Well, you should, in theory, because you're going to have a close game. These games are really high scoring. I'm going to guess that the Rush is going to be like more jam-packed and loud and stuff, but the Siebel games are really high scoring. There's a lot of like guys that are playing pro overseas. There's some university guys mixed in. There's certain rules that you have to have, like development players and stuff. I think it's really good for the sport if they can keep it up. They've got some like CBC broadcasts and stuff like that. So we should do that and hit the minor pro sports and support them and see what that environment's like.
I'm game for that.
Yeah.
I'm game for that.
That's how you got off your Tom Brady love. We got to.
After all that, do you still judge me on Tom Brady?
Yeah. I just.
Do you got a sport? Do you got a team for each sport then?
So
Your Pittsburgh Steelers,
Yeah.
who are having a fantastic season, I might say.
Yep.
NHL, you're an Oiler man?
I have to be just growing up that way and
Okay.
my connection.
Baseball, you're Atlanta?
Yep.
And
Lakers. And
except for LeBron.
Except for this year.
You can't cheer for your team.
I can't
cheer for your team when they win a championship.
I can't cheer for them with LeBron.
What kind of fan are you that can't cheer for
because I'm loyal to the team, and he's such a he signifies things that I don't like about pro sports. So when he's done playing, I will be a Lakers fan again. I cannot stomach. I was not cheering when they won the championship at all. At all.
Is there a player that could affect your love for the Edmonton Oilers, the Atlanta Braves, or the Pittsburgh Steelers in the same way?
No. That they acquired?
Yeah, that they bring in, and you're like, you know what? I'm just turning my love off for the team. You give me a hard fucking time.
Yeah,
about
no, that's
this.
fair.
And they get the LeBron. Your team just won a championship, and you won't even have a celebratory champagne. You're like, no, screw it. That guy sucks, and I'm done with that for a year.
I would have a tough time swallowing Jeter. Because I think Jeter's amazing, but Jeter in the day going to Atlanta, that would have been tough. Yankees, I despise everything Yankees. I would have a tough time if Tom Brady was on the Steelers. I think I'd quit cheering for the Steelers, if I'm being honest here. Who else did I really not like? I'm just thinking of guys that I cheered against so hard. Yeah, those two. Randy Johnson, maybe. I hated Randy Johnson back in the day.
The guy who blew up the pigeon.
Yeah, one of the greatest memes of all time. Hockey-wise, it's not really the same. And basketball, just LeBron. I could probably handle anyone else. I'm trying to think who else. Karl Malone, when Malone went over there for that year at the end, that really... Now, the flip side is Steve Nash could have played anywhere, and I would have been a Steve Nash fan. So...
You're not allowed to follow a player.
I know.
That's your rule. That's what you're
I know, but as a Laker fan first, Lakers were beating out Nash every single year, but I had that little soft spot right in the bottom. You must have a couple players in the NHL that you got soft spots for. You got a little man crush on.
Well, one of them isn't playing anymore. He played for the arch nemesis. Jerome McGinley was fun to watch. That guy was...
Two-way. He did everything.
Fought, scored. Man, always smiling. Would have loved to have seen him in an Oiler uniform.
You think it would have looked funny?
It would have looked funny. Probably wouldn't look right. Probably, no. I don't know. Other guys. Duncan Keith. He's like one of my favorite defensemen all the time. But he's slowly aging up there.
Right. Yeah, and it's just that sports passion. And like I said, my players, they don't cheer for teams, just athletes. And I'm sure our kids, when they get older, they're going to cheer for athletes, and it's going to drive us nuts.
You think so?
It'll drive me nuts for sure.
No. You think they're actually going to cheer for athletes, not sports?
Yeah, I would say like my girls that watch sports, they're athletes. They're tuned into athletes. And they will change the team that they're cheering for depending. Like I have Tori.
So I really hit a sour
yeah,
spot
I'm just getting
Tom
really
Brady.
upset. Like, okay, I'm a Bucks fan. No, I'm a Celtics fan first. Celtics are winning. I'm a Celtics fan. Oh, Celtics are out. I'm only cheering. Oh my God. Yeah, we shouldn't have even turned the mics back on for this.
I think this is
just
fantastic.
so angry about this. There you go. Now you know how I feel.
Well, thanks again, sir. I'm glad I got you fired up. You're not yawning anymore. That's for damn sure.
No, coffee's kicked in. I'm good.
Oh, I think it's Tom Brady's kicked in.
All right.
All right.
We'll leave her here, and everyone can laugh at this.